Good evening, sir, especially to my classmates who will watch this video. So I am the last reporter. Letter E, International Human Rights Law or IHRL. RL rather. International Human Rights Law or IHRL governs the obligation of states towards citizens and other individuals within their jurisdiction. As a form of public international law, international rights law is primarily made up of treaty law, legally binding agreements between state parties, and customary international law. Rules of law derive from the consistent practice of states. So it means that international human rights law is a body of law that sets out the obligations of states concerning the rights and freedoms of individuals within their jurisdictions. It operates within the framework of public international law, which govern relates between sovereign states. IHRL is primarily composed of two main sources: treaty law and customary international law. So, what is treaty law? Treaties are legally binding agreements between states and sometimes other international entities that set out specific obligations and rights. In the context of human rights, these treaties are often referred to as international human rights instruments or conventions. Examples includes the Universal Declaration of Human Rights or UDHR and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights or ICCPR states that become parties to see these treaties agree to be bound by their provisions and undertake obligations to protect and ensure the human rights and freedom outlined within them. So, on the other hand, the customary international law, it consists of rules and principles that derive from a general and consistent practice of states over time, which they follow out a sense of legal obligation. In the context of human rights, customary international law may develop when states consistently and universally recognize certain rights and obligations, even in the absence of a specific treaty. For example, the prohibition of torture has become widely recognized as a norm of customary international law. So let's now proceed in human rights obligation. So, human rights obligations. International human rights law lays down obligation which states are bound to respect by becoming parties to international treaties. States assume obligations and duties under international law to respect, to protect, and to fulfill human rights. On the uh, In short, international human rights law obligates states through treaty commitments to respect, protect, and fulfill human rights. Respect entails refraining from violating rights. Protect requires preventing abuses by non-state actors. And fulfill involves taking positive steps to ensure individually can enjoy their rights fully. These obligations are legally binding and aimed at ensuring the dignity and freedoms of all individuals within a state jurisdiction are upheld according to international standards. So, the obligation to respect means that state must refrain from interfering with or curtailing the enjoyment of human rights. It is a negative obligation. The obligation to protect requires states to protect individuals and groups against human rights abuses. So let's now proceed in positive and negative obligations. Positive and negative obligations that requires the state to refrain from acting in such a way that violates human rights. Positive obligation, it requires national authorities to act, that is, to take necessary measures to safeguard a right, or more precisely, to adopt reasonable and suitable measures to protect the rights of the individual. So, international human rights law imposes obligation on states to respect, protect, and fulfill human rights. Respect involves refraining from actions that violate rights. Protect requires states to prevent violations by third parties. Fulfill entails taking active measures to ensure individuals can fully exercise their rights. These obligations are crucial for safeguarding human dignity and ensuring that, that individuals can live free from discrimination and abuses. States commit to these duties through international treaties, establishing a framework for accountability and promoting the universal enjoyment of human rights. So, for example, suppose a police officer, an organ of the state, arbitrarily kills a person. In that case, the state will be in breach of its negative obligations not to act in a way that violates that individual's right to life. So, letter F, International Bill of Rights. The International Bill of Rights instruments are as follows. Number one, Universal Declaration of Human Rights or UDHR. Number two, International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights or ICESCR. Number three is International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR. The International Bill of Rights refers to a set of international instruments designed to protect and promote human rights globally. Here's a brief overview of each of the three main components. Universal Declaration of Human Rights or UDHR, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948. The UDHR is a foundational document that sets out a broad range of rights and freedoms to which all human beings are entitled. It includes civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. Although not legally binding in itself, the UDHR has inspired numerous legally binding human rights treaties and serves as a fundamental reference for international human rights law. International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, or ICESCR. Adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1966, the ICESCR is one of the two binding treaties that, together with the ICCPR, form the core of the International Bill of Rights. It recognizes rights such as the right to work, the right to social security, the right to education, and the right to health. States parties to the ICESCR are legally obligated to take steps to progressively realize these rights to the maximum of their available resources. And International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or ICCPR, also adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1966. The ICCPR complements the ICESCR by focusing on civil and political rights. It includes rights such as the right to life, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and the right to a fair trial. States parties to the ICCPR commit to respecting and ensuring these rights through legislative, judicial, and other measures. So, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights articulates fundamental rights and freedom for all. The declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on 10 December 1948, General Assembly Resolution 217, as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is recognized by the Philippines. Yes, it is recognized by the Philippines. Legal effect of the UDHR, because it is not a treaty, the Universal Declaration does not directly create legal obligation for countries. However, as an expression of the fundamental values which are shared by all members of the international community, it profoundly affected by the development of human rights. So the the UDHR, um, it recognized by the United Nations, but UDHR also in the Philippines. The Supreme Court in the case of Republic versus Sandigan Bayan states that the Universal Declaration constitute an authoritative interpretation of the charter of the highest order and has over the years become a part of customary international law. The fifth, it spells out in considerable detail the meaning of the phrase human rights and fundamental freedom. which member states have agreed to observe. So, the the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is recognized by Philippines Supreme Court as an authoritative interpretation of the UN Charter. Consti- Constituting customary international law, it provides a detailed framework defining human rights and fundamental freedoms, which member states, including including the Philippines, are obligated to uphold and respect. So, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights set a standard for all nations and people, urging continuous education and advocacy to foster respect for these rights. It calls for both national and international efforts to ensure these rights are universally recognized and upheld within member states and their territories. The declaration the declaration emphasizes the collective responsibility of societies and institutions to promote and protect human rights through progressive measures, thereby aiming for their full realization and effective implementation worldwide. So, preamble. Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in various acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind, and the advent of a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people. Whereas it is essential if man is not to be compelled to have recourse as a last resort to rebellion against tyranny and oppression, that human rights should be protected by the rule of law. Whereas it is essential to promote the development of friendly relations between nations, whereas the peoples of the United Nations have in the Charter reaffirmed their faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person, and in the equal rights of men and women, and have determined to promote social progress and better standards of life in larger freedom. Whereas member states have pledged themselves to achieve in cooperation with the United Nations to promote of universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms, whereas a common understanding of these rights and freedom is of the greatest importance for the full realization of this pledge. So, the General Assembly. It proclaims this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of of achievement for all peoples and all nations, to the end that every individual and every organ of society, keeping this declaration constantly in mind, shall strive by teaching and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms, and by progressive measures, national and international, to secure their universal and effective recognition and observance, both among the peoples of member states themselves and among the peoples of territories under their jurisdiction. So, Article number 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. So, as as this the text said, so that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. So we are all equal, especially in in the eyes of our Creator. Article 2. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of the political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs, whether it be dependent, trust, non-self-governing, or under any other limitation of sovereignty. So it means that human rights asserts that if every person is inherently entitled to all the rights and freedom outlined in the Declaration without any discrimination based on race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or any other status. It further it further prohibits distinction based on a person's affiliation with any particular country or territory, regardless of its political or international status, emphasizing the universality and indivisibility of human rights for all individuals worldwide. So, number three, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of persons. So, we as a human beings, we have the right to life, liberty or freedom, and security of being a person. Article number 4. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Servitude means that it is state of being slave. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. So the slavery prohibited shall be prohibited. Article number 5. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment. This principle formed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights prohibits any form of torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment, affirming the right of every person to be free from such practice all under circumstances. Article 6. Everyone has the right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law. So, this right ensures that every individual is legally acknowledged and treated as a person without discrimination in any jurisdiction. It guarantees that all people, regardless of their background status, have the right to legal personality, enabling them to exercise their rights and access justice on equal terms with others in all aspects of life and before the law. Article number 7. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination and violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such discrimination. So these statements from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights affirms that everyone, without exception, enjoy equality before the law. It guarantees equal protection under the law without discrimination, ensuring that all individuals are safeguarded from any form of discriminatory treatment prohibited by the Declaration. Moreover, it prohibits any acts or advocacy that promote discrimination. This principle underscores the fundamental human rights to legal equality and protection, emphasizing the universal application of these rights to all individuals, irrespective of their race, religion, gender, or any other characteristics. So, Article 8. Everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by law. So, this right ensures that every individual has access to competent national courts or tribunals to seek effective remedies when their fundamental rights, as guaranteed by the Constitution or laws of their country, are violated. It emphasizes the importance of judicial recourse as a means to address grievances and seek justice, thereby upholding the rule of law and providing individuals with the means to challenge violations of their rights through fair and impartial legal processes. So, Article number 9. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. So it is very clear, no, that no one shall be arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. Article 10. Everyone is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in the determination of his rights and obligation of any criminal charge against him. So, this principle ensures that all individuals have the right to fair and public hearing before an independent and impartial tribunal. It guarantees equality in the process of determining one's right obligations, or any criminal charges. These rights underscore the importance of transparency and fairness in judicial proceedings where decisions are made based on law and evidence without bias or influence. It ensures that everyone, regardless of their status or circumstances, receives a fair trial and access to justice essential for upholding the principles of justice and the rule of law. So, Article number 11. Everyone charged with a penal offense has the right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty according to law in a public trial at which he has had all the guarantees necessary for his defense. No one shall be held guilty of any penal offense on account of any act or omission which did not constitute a penal offense under national or international law at the time when it was committed, nor shall have a heavier penalty be imposed than the one that was applicable at the time the penal offense was committed. So, these principles means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights prohibits any unjustified intrusion into a person's privacy, family, home, or correspondence. It also safeguards against attack on an individual honor and reputation. It guarantees that everyone has the right to legal protection against such interference or attacks, ensuring that individuals can live freely and securely without unwarranted intrusion or defamation. These rights underscore the importance of personal autonomy, dignity, and the rule of law in upholding the fundamental human rights and freedom in all spheres of life. So, number Article number 12, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor attacks upon his honor and reputation. So, as I said, that it guarantees that everyone has the right to legal protections against such interference or attacks, ensuring that individuals can live freely, securely without unwarranted intrusion or defamation. Article number 13. Everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. So, number 13 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights guarantees individuals the freedom to move and reside within any country's borders as well as the right to leave any country, including their own, and to return to their home country. This fundamental right ensures that people can choose where they live, travel freely, and return to their place of origin without undue restrictions. It upholds the principles of personal liberty, mobility, and the right to choose one's residence, essential for fostering individual autonomy and facilitating connections within and across nations. Article number 14. Everyone has the right to seek and to enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. This right may not be invoked in the case of persecution genuinely arising from non-political crimes or from acts contrary to the purpose and principles of United Nations. So, Article number 14 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights guarantees that everyone has the right to seek and enjoy asylum in other countries if they are persecuted. However, this right cannot be invoked if someone faces persecution for non-political crimes, acts contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. This provision ensured that asylum is granted for genuine cases of persecution, protecting individuals from political or other forms of persecution, while also respecting the rule of law and international norms against impunity for serious crimes. Article number 15. Everyone has the right to a nationality. Number 2. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. Article number 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights asserts that every individual has the right to a nationality. It prohibits arbitrary deprivation of nationality and guarantees the right to change nationality. This ensures that everyone belongs to a recognized legal and political community. granting them essential rights and protections under the law of their country. The provision safeguard against statelessness and discriminatory practices, affirming the principle that nationality is a fundamental aspect of a person's identity and legal status, crucial for accessing rights, services, and participation in civic life within one's own country and internationally. So, Article number 16. Men and women of full age without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion have the right to marry and to found a family. They are entitled to equal rights to as to marriage, during marriage and its dissolution. Marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent of the intending spouses. The family is the natural and fundamental group unit of society and is entitled to protection by society and state. So, it means that Universal Declaration of Human Rights affirms that men and women without any discrimination based on race, nationality, or religion have the right to marry and establish a family. It guarantees equal rights within marriage and during its dissolution. Marriage must be entered into with the full and free consent of both parties. The article recognizes the family as the fundamental unit of society entitled to protection by society and the state. Article number 17. Everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. So it means that Universal Declaration of Human Rights guarantees that every person has the right to own property individually or jointly with others. It prohibits arbitrary deprivation of property, ensuring that no one can be unjustly stripped of their possession by the state of any other entity. This right emphasizes the importance of property rights as a fundamental aspect of personal security, economic stability, and individual freedom under the rule of law. So, Article number 18. Everyone has the right of freedom of thought and conscience and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief and freedom either alone or in community with others and in public or private to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. So, Article number 18, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights guarantees individuals the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This encompasses the freedom to hold any belief or religion of one's choosing, to change one belief, and to manifest this belief publicly or privately, alone, alone or with others. It includes the right to practice, worship, teach, and observe one religions or beliefs without interference. This right ensures that individuals can freely explore and express their spiritual and philosophical convictions, fostering pluralism, tolerance, and respect for diverse religious, and non-religious beliefs within society worldwide. So, Article number 19. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. So, Article number 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights guarantees individuals the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This includes the right to form opinions without interference and to freely seek, receive, and share information and ideas through any medium, regardless of your geographical boundaries. This fundamental right protects diverse viewpoints, encourages open discourse, and fosters the free flow of information crucial for the democratic societies. So, Article number 20. Number 1, everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. Number 2, no one may be compelled to belong to an association. So, it means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights ensures that everyone has the right to peacefully assemble and associate with others. It prohibits any coercion to compel individuals to join any association. This guarantees the freedom for people to come together, express shared interests or concerns, and participate in collective actions without undue interference or pressure from authorities or other entities. Article number 21. Everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country directly or through freely chosen representatives. Everyone has the right of equal access to public service in his country. Number 3. The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. This will shall be expressed in periodic and genuine elections which shall be by universal and equal suffrage and shall be upheld by secret vote or by equivalent free voting procedure. So it means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights affirms several fundamental rights related to governance and public service. It guarantees every individual the right to participate in their country's government directly or through freely chosen representatives. It ensures equal access to public service without discrimination. Additionally, it emphasizes that the authority of government should derive from the will of the people expressed through genuine, periodic elections conducted by the universal and equal suffrage, ensuring secrecy of the vote of equivalent free voting procedures. So, Article number 22. Everyone as a member of society has the right to social security and is entitled to realizations through national effort and international cooperation, and in accordance with the organizations and resources of each state, of the economic, social, and cultural rights indispensable for his dignity and the free development of his personality. So it means that Universal Declaration of Human Rights asserts that every individual, as a member of society, has the right to social security. It guarantees that economic, social, and cultural rights essential for human dignity and personal development should be realized through national efforts and international cooperation. States are encouraged to organize their resources to ensure these rights are accessible to all, regardless of economic status, fostering conditions where individuals can live with dignity and achieve their full potential within their societies. So, Article number 3. Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable condition of work, and to protect against unemployment. Everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work. Number 3, everyone who work has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for himself and his family an existence worthy of human dignity and supplemented if necessary by other means of social protection. And number 4, everyone has the right to form and to join trade unions for the protection of his interests. So it means that the Article number 20 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights guarantees several essential labor rights. It affirms everyone's right to work, freely choose employment, and enjoy just and favorable working conditions with protection against unemployment. It mandates equal pay for equal work without discrimination. Additionally, it ensures that workers receive fair wages that provides for themselves and their families a standard of living compatible with human dignity. So, Article number 24, everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours and periodic holidays with pay. So, Article number 24 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights guarantees that everyone has the right to rest and leisure. This includes reasonable limits on working hours and periodic holidays with pay. So, uh, it works with pay even though it is a holiday. It emphasizes the importance of work-life balance, ensuring that individuals have sufficient time for relaxation, personal pursuits, and equality time with family and friends, promoting overall well being and productivity. So, Article number 25. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well being of himself and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control. Number two, motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care and assistance. All children, whether born in or out of wedlock, shall enjoy the same social protection. So it means that Article number 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights asserts that everyone has the right to a standard of living that ensures health and well being for themselves and their families. This includes access to adequate food, clothing, housing, medical care, and necessary social services. Individuals also have the right to security in case of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other circumstances beyond their control. The article emphasizes special care and assistance for motherhood and childhood, ensuring that all children receive equal social protection regardless of their birth status, promoting equality and social justice in societal support system. So, in Article number 26, uh, everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. Technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. Education shall be directed to the full development of the human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. It shall promote understanding, tolerance, and friendship among all nations, racial or racial or religious groups, and shall further the activities of the United Nations for the maintenance of peace. Number three, parents have prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. So it means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights affirms the right to education for everyone. It mandates that elementary education be free and compulsory, with the technical and professional education widely accessible and higher education accessible based on merit. Education aims to develop the full potential of individuals, promote respect for human rights, and foster understanding and tolerance among diverse groups. So, Article number 27. Everyone has the right to participate in the cultural life of the community, to enjoy the arts, and to share in scientific advancement and its benefits. Number two, everyone has the right to the protection of the moral and material interest resulting from any scientific, literary, or artistic production of which he is the author. So, it means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights ensures that everyone has the right to freely participate in their community's cultural life, enjoys the arts, and benefit from scientific progress. It guarantees individuals the right to protection for their moral and material interests as a creator of scientific, literary, or artistic works. These provisions encourages cultural diversity, supports creativity and innovation, and safeguards intellectual property rights. So, Article number 28. Everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration can be fully realized. It means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights declares that every individual has the right to a social and international order that enables the full realizations of the rights and freedom outlined in the declaration. This includes ensuring that legal, political, and economic system support and uphold human rights universally, promoting peace, justice, and equality among nations and within societies. So, Article number 29. Everyone has duties to the community in which alone the free and full development of his personality is possible. Number two, in the exercise of his rights and freedoms, everyone shall be subjected only to such limitations as are determined by law solely for the purpose of securing due recognition and respect for the rights and freedoms of others and of meeting the just requirements of morality, public order, and the general welfare in a democratic society. Number three, these rights and freedoms may in no case be exercised contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. So it means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights outlines the responsibilities and limitations that accompany individual rights. It emphasizes that everyone has duties to their community, essential for their own full development. It asserts that the exercise of rights must respect the rights of others and align with laws that promote morality, public order, and the welfare of society. And the last article, Article number 30, nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, group, or person any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act aimed at the destruction of any of the rights and freedom set forth herein. So it means that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights clarifies that nothing within the declaration grants any state, group, or individual the right to engage in activities or actions aimed at undermining or destroying the rights and freedoms it guarantees. These provisions reinforces the principle that human rights are universal, indivisible, and inviolable, and must be upheld and protected by all parties without exception. It underscores the commitment to safeguarding human dignity, justice, and peace globally, ensuring that the rights articulated in the Declaration are preserved and respected for the benefit of all humanity. So that's all the articles. Uh, it has all Article 30. So let's now go to International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. So adoption. The International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1966. So the ICESCR in the Philippines, the Philippine government is one of the 184 member states of the United Nations that ratified the ICESCR on June 7, 1974. Composition. The ICESCR is composed of 31 articles contained in 6 sections, the preamble and parts 1 to 5. So, preamble. The states parties to the present covenant, considering that in accordance with the principle proclaimed in the Charter of the United Nations, recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Recognizing that these rights derive from the inherent dignity of the human person. Recognizing that, in accordance with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the ideal of free human, so the preamble of 1987 Philippines Constitution. So, me personally, I know this preamble because we discussed and we had a lesson this from our first year in college. So, the preamble of 1987 Philippine Constitution states that we, the sovereign Filipino people, imploring the aid of Almighty God in order to build a just and humane society and establish a government that shall embody our ideas and aspirations, promote the common good, conserve and develop our patrimony, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of independence and democracy under the rule of law and a regime of truth, justice, freedom, and love, equality, and peace. Do ordain and promulgate this Constitution. So, so that's all. Thank you.